Well, I did not want to make a video like this, but I'm going to make one. I'm not going to edit or anything. I'm going to just go with the flow. So just bear with me. So I guess it has something to do with what's going on right now. I really don't like doing things like this, like talking about this, these issues. You already know all too well what's going on right now in 2026. For the last couple of years, things are just going to get worse and worse if we don't stand up and do something. I'm not just talking about black people, I'm talking about everybody. All people just need to come together and stop the foolishness. So it looks like we're never going to come together, guys. It's 2026. It's been over 40 years and it's just the same old, same old. So when are we going to come together? And look like that's not going to happen, black owned business and stuff like that. I really don't want to get into all that type of stuff, y'all. But anyway, there's other videos going on right now, with Asians and black people. And I just saw that, the girl, she just stole out of the store. And I'm not saying it's right. I mean, it's not right, but, she was being apprehended by one of the workers. He was grabbing all on her, because she had items in her bag. She must have took the items, put them in her bag, and she left out of the store. And the guys were holding her and trying to retrieve the items. But you're not supposed to do that. Once the person leaves the store, you're not supposed to do anything. You're supposed to call the cops, make a complaint. This is what this video is all about. So, but I used to work at Rite Aid. I worked at Rite Aid for 12 years. I know all about the retail theft and all of that stuff. I know everything. I'm not going to say I know everything, but I know a lot. I know basically all the rules and regulations or whatever that you're supposed to follow. Once the person leaves the store, that's what I know. They said once they leave the store, that's it. Just file a complaint. If they're in the store, I think, you're able to retrieve the items. If you can retrieve the items, they have to be in the store. Once they leave the premises, you can't do anything. Pick up the phone, file a complaint, and that's it. I think if the items are under $100, they can't do anything about it, the cops. If the items are over $100, that's when they'll take that report, they'll write down that report. If the items are over $100. This happened in Rite Aid every single day. People would come in there, wait until the store opens, and I just hated when it was on my shift. I was a shift supervisor at the time, opening the store, and the people are just waiting outside just to go in and take things off the shelf. Or people were waiting around the corner just to come in, take the items off the shelf so they can just walk out. I don't care. I don't work there no more. So I can tell basically everything. I don't work there no more. The stores are shut down now. So it was a little annoying. The people used to come in the store, take the items off the shelf, and sometimes they would run out the back door and the alarm would go off. Then I had to take care of that, call the district, I think the district manager, call the cops, take down these reports and stuff like that. That stuff was overwhelming. I'm not going to say none of the people wasn't armed. I think they wasn't. None of them wasn't. They were never armed. But, there were robberies in the store a lot. So, and I was actually there. But luckily, I was never in the front. I was never in the front of the store when the store got robbed. But if the people, if they do steal, if they're in the store, if you're able to retrieve the items, then oh well, it's all good. Don't be all rough with them and trying to take them down and stuff like that. I know I actually did. This is a true story. I actually did. Me and some guy. This guy, we were I guess we tackled him down to the floor, right? We tackled him, and then we tried to, I guess get the items from the guy. So, but that was wrong. But it was still wrong. We trying to retrieve the items from the guy, even though he did not leave the store. That was still wrong. I was in the wrong. I could just say that I was in the wrong trying to retrieve the items from the guy. So, but only like if they're in the store, yeah, you can try to get your stuff back, but try to stay calm. You don't have to be all rough. Nobody has to die. Like every time, nobody got killed when nobody was unalive. You can't say that on here. I didn't unalive anybody trying to retrieve the items. We did retrieve a lot of items. We got a lot of the items back, most of the time. Most of the time, sometimes we didn't. They just would come in there with duffel bags, bro. They would come in there with duffel bags and just walk out. My last couple of years in it, last few years in that store? Let's say 2021. Let me see, when COVID, 2019 COVID came around. That's when things started getting worse. After, yeah, that was no, it was still the beginning, like 2020, 2021, when I guess, I'm not sure, I forget when they said this, started the stand down policy. The stand down policy is when you can't do nothing. They'll just walk in. They can just walk in, take whatever off the shelf, and leave out without filing no complaints or anything. Like, that was crazy. Then, they would say, oh, we're insured. We ain't got nothing to worry about. But I don't know. Why is the store closed? I don't understand that part. But the store is closed now. I've been away from that store for 4 years now. So, yeah, but they had closed down once I left. I was like, oh snap, now all Rite Aids are closed, I'm not going to, is it from them stealing and stuff? They just didn't care because, they're going to build something else, because the Rite Aid I used to work at, they're building a gym. They're going to make it into a gym, I think. So I guess they really didn't care because, we'll just build something else, make money, I don't know. I'm going to just look that up, look that stuff up, does it come from the stealing? And they couldn't make up the money. I don't know how to explain all that stuff. I'm gonna make another video with that. So I don't know. So anyway, guys, yeah, I used to work there. I worked there for about 12 years. And in the beginning, it wasn't that bad. People used to steal, but it wasn't that bad. The first 5 or 6 years, let me say 7 years after I became a supervisor, yeah, that's when things had changed, bro. I was so stressed out. That job really stressed me out, from people coming in there stealing, and then I had done something I wasn't supposed to do. I had forgot, and then I just forgot. Something just happened to me. Whatever. I'm not going to explain what happened to me, but that's another video. But anyway, this stealing stuff, if they steal, you're not supposed to touch them at all. Like I said before, if they are insured, you have nothing to worry about. If it's over $100, okay, then you have to do something about it. If the items are just small, just a pack of gum, just let them go. Let them go.